Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are going to try to fundamentally reorient how we even think about our own planet.
Yeah.
We're not really talking about planet Earth anymore. We're diving into what some crucial sources are calling planet Aqua, the blue water planet.
It's a really powerful reframing.
It is. And we've got a stack of research here, and it all seems to point back to this one single moment. It's the 1972 Apollo 17 photograph of Earth. We all know it. It's called the blue marble.
Right. The famous one.
Exactly. You see the swirling blue oceans.
Yeah.
They dominate the whole view, right? And then you see these little patches of green and brown land.
And that's the key. When you really look at that picture, really look at it, you have this unsettling realization. All that land we've built our entire lives on, it's just exterior decoration. The world is fundamentally governed by and shaped by water.
That's such a shocking premise. Because for, what, 6,000 years, humanity has believed the exact opposite. We've acted as if we live on a solid, a land planet, something we could conquer. But our sources are arguing that this entire 6,000-year history, they call it urban hydraulic civilization, is collapsing right now in real time.
It is. The planet's hydrosphere, so that's all the water systems, everything, it's rapidly rewilding. Climate change is forcing a massive reckoning. So I think our mission in this deep dive is to really understand the scope of that civilizational collapse and then to explore this new path forward, a philosophical and practical one that the sources are calling hydroism.
Okay, let's unpack that. That is a huge historical claim, this 6,000-year misunderstanding. When we look at the great early civilizations, Mesopotamia, Egypt, ancient China, Rome, why do these sources pin their entire model on water control?
Well, it's not just that they were near rivers. That's the common misconception. It's that their entire societies were defined by their ability to master those rivers. Think about the infrastructure. We're talking about elaborate dams, dikes, canals, all designed to redirect and, crucially, to privatize water.
Privatized, so it wasn't just a public good.
Not at all. This wasn't incidental. The ability to control the flood cycles, to redirect that flow, that led directly to intensive grain agriculture. And grain, as the sources really emphasize, is the key differentiator here. It's so much more water intensive than, say, earlier root crops.
Okay, so why does that matter socially? Why is grain the tipping point?
Because once you can guarantee a massive, predictable surplus of grain, you suddenly need a really complex system to manage it all. You need dense cities to process it. You need bureaucracies to track it. You even need writing systems like cuneiform in Mesopotamia, which really started as a way to log taxation and logistics.
I see. So if you control the water.
You control the grain. If you control the grain, you decide who gets to plant and who starves. That control is the very definition of centralized rational power. And the consequence of that, it's a worldview. It's a belief that human rationality could always conquer and domesticate nature.
And here's where it gets so intense. That hubris, that worldview, is now meeting the rewilding hydrosphere head on. The crisis isn't just about the temperature going up a few degrees. It's about the entire global water cycle becoming volatile.
Absolutely. The data is it's overwhelming. Climate change is manifesting, first and foremost, as a water crisis. As the world warms, water evaporation increases exponentially. The sources say for every 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature, precipitation intensity grows by about 7%.
7%. That sounds small, but I'm guessing it's not.
It's huge. It means all the hydrological events, so floods, droughts, heat waves, hurricanes, they don't just get a little worse, they become vastly more extreme and more unpredictable.
And the human cost is it's staggering. Can you give us a sense of the scale of the instability we're already facing?
The scale is almost hard to comprehend. By the year 2040, the projection is that 5.4 billion people.
Billion, with a B.
Billion. That's over half the world's projected population. They will be living in areas facing severe water stress. And this instability, it feeds on itself. Water-related conflicts have increased 270% in the last decade alone.
270%.
Yes. When a resource like water collapses, societies fracture. It's inevitable.
It's not even just social instability anymore, is it? We're putting so much pressure on the system that, well, the sources cite this one fact that I just can't get out of my head. The melting of glaciers and the excessive pumping of groundwater have actually shifted the Earth's rotational axis. We've literally thrown the planet off balance just by mismanaging its water.
It's the ultimate feedback loop, isn't it? And the very infrastructure that sustained that old civilization, it's now becoming an extreme liability. The average dam in the U.S. is about 60 years old.
So it's aging.
It's aging, and it was never designed for this level of volatile, unpredictable water flow. The projection is that by 2050, a shocking 61% of all global dams will face extreme flood or drought risk. The physical skeleton of our 6,000-year civilization is becoming a massive stranded asset. It just can't handle Planet Aqua's new reality.
So if continuing down this path of urban hydraulic civilization is basically impossible, what's the alternative?
Yeah.
This is where that idea of hydroism comes in. And it's not just a technical fix, right? It's not just better pipes.
No, not at all. It's a whole new philosophical and economic framework. Hydroism means we have to move away from our single-minded focus on efficiency and productivity. Those were the cornerstones of the old system. Instead, the new focus has to be on resilience and regeneration.
Resilience. Okay, so designing systems that can adapt, not systems that try to fight change.
Exactly. Systems that can bend, not break.
So what does that actually look like in practice?
Hmm.
The sources mention the emergence of an instantaneous society. What on earth is that?
An instantaneous society is one that's characterized by high adaptability. It means long periods of migration and maybe shorter periods of settlement. It's a new kind of nomadism in a way.
So when a watershed fails, people just move.
They move quickly, and that requires incredibly flexible systems, different kinds of agriculture, different ways of living.
Right, we can't rely on those super water-intensive grain fields anymore.
Precisely. So we're seeing the rise of solutions like vertical indoor farming. The sources note that it uses as little as 1/250th of the water of traditional agriculture.
1/250th. That's an incredible number.
It is. Or think about coastal communities. They're turning to solar-powered desalination, accepting the ocean as the limitless source it is, instead of trying to engineer rivers that are drying up.
I'm also really fascinated by this idea of sponge cities and slow water movement. It sounds like the complete opposite of the dams and canals we've relied on for 6,000 years.
It is the reversal of the logic of control. Instead of building concrete dikes to rush water away as fast as possible, which causes flooding downstream, sponge cities are designed to accept and absorb the water.
How do they do that?
With things like permeable paving, green roofs, urban wetlands. The goal is to slow the water down, to hold it in the ecosystem. That way, it cleans the water, it recharges local groundwater, and it doesn't overwhelm the infrastructure. It's adaptation in action.
And underpinning all of this is a huge legal shift, this global push for the legal rights of waters. Why is it so important for hydroism to give a river the same legal rights as a person?
Because the old system viewed water as a private commodity, something to be owned, pumped, and exploited until it was gone. By granting rivers and lakes the right to free flow, you guarantee they can find their new climate-adapted ecological balance. You're recognizing the vital, self-organizing nature of the hydrosphere itself. You're giving up control.
Which brings us to the more reflective part of this. If we're really going to embrace this idea, this hydroism,
The first step is, I think, a kind of radical memory prompt. We have to remember who we actually are. We are fundamentally a water species.
it's so simple, but it's a truth we completely overlook, isn't it?
We do.
Yeah.
But think about it. An adult human body is 60% water. A fetus is between 70 and 90% water. Our deep, deep evolutionary ancestry links us directly back to the ocean. The sources mention one of our ancient ancestors, the fishapod, which was the creature that first showed signs of limbs. The limbs that let us eventually walk on land. Our origins are undeniably aquatic.
And this connection, it's not just biological, is it? It's psychological.
Deeply psychological. The sources discuss how embedded water imagery is in our collective subconscious, in our dreams.
Right. Drowning is stress.
Drowning is stress, being overwhelmed, but immersion can also symbolize cleansing, transformation, rebirth. It's like this collective memory of our aquatic origins. It's as ancient as life itself.
Which makes the last 6,000 years of aggressive water control. It almost feels like a deliberate act of severance, like we've been cutting ourselves off from our own nature. And this struggle for control, it's mirrored so deeply in our oldest myths.
It is. The sources outline this really striking historical shift. We moved from worshiping female water goddesses, serpent mothers who represented the chaotic, powerful flow of water, to worshiping male sky gods, like Zeus or Marduk, who famously conquered the serpent deities to establish a rigid, controllable male order.
So water was gendered female, passive, nurturing, flowing. And land and control, that was gendered male.
Exactly. Active, rational, administrative. And this power struggle isn't just ancient history. It is happening right now. Global water management is still overwhelmingly male-dominated. It tends to focus on water as a quantifiable, tradable resource. That's the capitalist model. Privatization and efficiency.
And the counter perspective.
The growing perspective, which is often led by female activists around the globe, sees water as a non-negotiable life force, a global public good that demands a caring ethics, not a commercial one. It's about stewardship, not ownership.
This clash of worldviews, control versus care, it brings us to this huge philosophical crossroads.
Mm.
And the sources frame it using this really interesting concept from Edmund Burke, the sublime.
Yes, Burke's sublime. It's that feeling of profound fear and awe you get when you're faced with overwhelming, uncontrollable natural power. It's not a quaint garden. It's standing before a catastrophic mega flood or watching a Category 5 hurricane barrel toward you.
And we are, as a species, standing before that now with the rewilding hydrosphere.
We are. We are experiencing the sublime. And the sources say philosophy lays out two paths, two choices for us.
Okay,
Yeah.
explain those choices for us. What are they?
The first choice is the old way. It's rooted in what you could call Kantian rationalism. This approach tries to use objective reason, science, and technology to suppress that frightening natural force, to tame it,
To build a bigger dam.
to build a bigger dam, to keep fighting the water until we win.
And the second choice.
The second choice is the new way, and it's rooted in Schopenhauer's idea of empathy. This approach argues that if you accept the fear, if you allow the sublime to just awe you, it leads to a transcendent experience. You develop an empathetic attachment to the evolving, living planet that you're immersed in. It means recognizing you are part of the system, not its master. It's the choice to flow with the water, not against it.
So wrapping this up,
Hmm.
what does this all mean for you listening to this right now?
I think the key takeaway is this. If 6,000 years of civilization were built on making nature adapt to us, our survival in the future depends entirely on us adapting to the rewilding hydrosphere.
It's a complete inversion.
It is. We have to actively cultivate what the sources call a pro-life consciousness,
Huh.
a way of thinking that prioritizes the flourishing of all life. And that means consciously shifting how we value things, moving away from just GDP.
And moving toward quality of life indicators, or QLI. It means prioritizing the resilience of the whole system over just pure production efficiency.
And the ultimate realization from this deep dive is that the core challenge isn't technical. We have the solar desalination. We know how to build sponge cities. The challenge is ontological. It's about how we fundamentally relate to the world. It's about listening to the water, accepting its powerful, unpredictable, self-organizing evolution.
So everything else is secondary.
I think the sources argue yes. The only issue that truly matters now is achieving peace with the rewilding hydrosphere and finding new, adaptive ways to coexist with all other forms of life. Everything else, our politics or economics, it's all secondary to that one single task.
That leaves us with a final and maybe a pretty provocative thought for you to consider. If the future is one of new nomadism, of adapting to the constant, unpredictable movement of water, how rigid or how flexible are your own life and career structures right now? Are they built for the old land planet, or are they ready for planet Aqua?